Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is the 7 p.m. newscast on Info Television. Our top stories. The International Day of Older Persons is observed on October 1 every year, and it recognizes and celebrates the contributions of older people in the society. And in this newscast, we shall look at the fact that the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has called on security and administrative officials to remain vigilant before, during and after the October 12 presidential election. Those were our headlines. Details right ahead. And as you heard in one of our lead stories, the International Day for Older Persons is observed every year on October 1, and the day recognizes and celebrates the contributions of older people to the society. On this day, the Info TV newsroom looked at how persons of the third age group live this new generation, and the focus was 82-year-old Marie Avezwa. Let's watch.
These steps lead to the residence of the 82-year-old widow, Marie Avezwa Monti. We are received by her daughter with regards to the International Day for Older Persons observance on October 1. Evidently, old and happy could be her slogan.
Je mange, on m'en donne.
I am well fed. I take my bath and there is water, and I have electricity, as you can see. I have lived and saw young people of my age who did a lot of stuff which I did not find appealing. And also I grew up in a milieu which did not necessitate that I behave in a certain way, because I left my village and I lived with reverend sisters who taught us a lot. For example, I don't love wearing jewelries. Marie Avezwa Monti bore 10 children, has 106 grandchildren and 35 grandkids. She highlights that, comparing the experiences of her youthful age and now, her era remains nostalgic.
C'était comme une famille.
It was like family before. It's not like nowadays where there exist nuclear families and all the like. In the village, we did almost everything together. We fetched water together from the well. I remember that on the night of December 31st, leading to 1st January, we would always light a white fire outside the compound, and all the children will sing around it, wanting to see the sky's color change. The care needs of older persons vary, and it's vital for younger ones to step in and lend a hand.
On s'assure de ce qu'elle soit bien entourée.
We make sure that she is well surrounded. She has her morning routines, like her medications, which she takes. We make sure she eats as prescribed by the doctor, and we always make sure we come see her, so she's well taken care of. Older persons have given a lifetime to society, and living with dignity as they age is priceless.
64 years after the West Cameroon voluntarily unites with La République du Cameroun on October 1st, 1961, celebrating unity in cultural diversity remains fundamental. In this report, Phillips Enchi revisits these historical moments.
Cameroonians in the English-speaking regions join compatriots across the country on October 1st, 2025 to commemorate October 1st, 1961. It recalls the moment when the former West Cameroon, emerging from British trusteeship, though never formally colonized, united with the French-speaking East Cameroon to form a single nation, a date of profound historical significance. The French had to hurriedly grant independence in 1960 to La République du Cameroun, but on the other side, the English-speaking part of the country was still under the trusteeship of the British and governed as an integral part of Nigeria. This is what actually prompted the referendum permitting the West Cameroon to either join Nigeria or their brothers in the French part of the country. Finally, the Southern Cameroons voted to join La République du Cameroun, which is of course the French Cameroon. The union with La République du Cameroun is the historic decision that continues to shape the nation's identity.
To British Southern Cameroonians, there is a remarkable remembrance because it's the day that they make up their mind to join their brothers of La République du Cameroun. So to unify and become one and indivisible Cameroon.
Cameroonians continue to safeguard the union while celebrating unity in diversity.
A day of celebration like this, to all Cameroonians, we are saying that as one people, one history, one future, let's work to build our nation, to build our state, and continue to live in harmony as it was in the past, today and tomorrow.
As Cameroonians commemorate October 1st, living together and promoting cultural diversity, despite the abolition of the federal system, the preservation of national unity remains a shared obligation.
The Minister of Territorial Administration has called on security and administrative officials to remain vigilant before, during and after the October 12 presidential election. He was speaking during a security evaluation meeting in Marua this Wednesday, October 1st, at the conference hall of the Far North Governor's Office. As you tell us in this report, Jude Kenji.
With just few days to go until the election, the nation's security situation must be firmly under control. To assess the level of preparedness ahead of the October 12 presidential election, Minister Paul Atanganji, on a nationwide sensitization tour, made a strategic stop at the Far North Regional Headquarters. The meeting, attended by top administrative and security officials alongside the Far North Regional Delegate of Elekam, was held at the Governor's Office. The directives from the Minister of Territorial Administration were unequivocal.
I'm here in Marwa today at the extreme instructions of President Paul Biya to make a thorough evaluation of the security situation of the region and to look in details the ongoing process of the presidential election. It's then important for us to do an evaluation to see what has been done, what has to be done, and what is left behind.
The minister used this crucial meeting to call upon all political actors, specifically the presidential candidates, to demonstrate a high sense of maturity and responsibility throughout the electoral process.
It should be recalled that at the end of the year, the 31st of December 2024, President Paul Biya made an important speech telling all political stakeholders to show proof of political maturity during the presidential election, which will be held soon.
He strongly emphasized the non-negotiable respect for the law. To this end, two key documents were handed to all involved actors to guide their conduct.
All the stakeholders, especially the candidates who will take part in the elections, must abide by the rules and regulations. That the MINAT will distribute two important documents to all politicians and stakeholders: the Observer's Guide and the Legal Framework.
Clear and stern warning was issued to any unscrupulous politicians who may attempt to jeopardize the integrity of the electoral process.
A football match, you have the referee, and you know that when he takes out his yellow card, his warning, and the red card is expulsion, meaning that all the stakeholders must abide by rules and the regulations and respect the laws of the land.
According to reports presented to the minister by the region's competent authorities, the security situation in the Far North region is under firm control. Furthermore, the instructions from President Paul Biya are clear and must be followed to the letter.
It's important to avoid hate speech and all those promoting tribalism.
Any attempts to create chaos or dish out fake results will be met with the full and severe force of the law.
So after the 12th of October 2025, the candidates should go back home and wait so that the competent authorities should continue the process. Any attempt to send out false results will be dealt with squarely.
With all actors now on high alert and working in vigilance, the electoral process in the Far North region is expected to proceed smoothly and peacefully.
And still in the same light, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, in a similar exercise, was welcomed in the North region later this afternoon by governors of the North and Adamawa regions. During an in-camera meeting to evaluate the security situation ahead of the October 12 presidential election, administrative, defense and security officials, including the regional delegates of Elekam of the North and Adamawa regions, presented a detailed overview of their areas of command to guarantee security before, during and after the presidential election. The minister during the meeting insisted that all stakeholders involved must respect the law, leaving no room for those who may want to jeopardize the electoral process. Let's now get an excerpt of Minister Paul Atanganji, selected for us by Jude Kenji, our special envoy to the North region.
We are here in for an evaluation meeting and the esteemed instructions of President Paul Biya. We have an evaluation of the security situation and as well as the evaluation of the electoral process which is ongoing. We want to give them a clear warning that will not tolerate any unscrupulous behavior. After the process, any political stakeholder who thinks that he has problems with the system or the organization of the elections, then he can channel his petition or petitions to the competent authorities. And he should declare that only the Constitutional Council is competent to pronounce results after the presidential election. No other body should try to do so. It's important for the stakeholders to be responsible. And as I said earlier, they must abide by the rules and regulations.
Away from that, the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Marie-Thérèse Abena-Ondoa, has launched activities for the 30th edition of the World Rural Women's Day in Cameroon. This was during a press briefing where she emphasized on the vital role that women play in the society. Mimi Tiobo throws more light.
A press briefing was held this 1st October 2025 by the Minister of Women Empowerment and the Family, Marie-Thérèse Abena-Ondoa, for the official launch of activities to mark the 30th edition of World Rural Women's Day in Cameroon across the entire country.
Women living in rural areas represent 71.6% of the agricultural workforce and produce over 85% of the staple food crops consumed. Rural women are invested in farm work, trade, and other income-generating activities to improve their living conditions and those of their families. Through their presence, they contribute to the stabilization of rural areas, the fight against hunger and poverty, and the transmission of traditional know-how and sustainable practices adapted to environmental challenges. They are the pillar and the heart of their families, their communities, and the society in which they live. They are guardians of cultural identities.
The theme of the 30th edition is facing the challenges of climate change and access to productive resources, which highlights two major challenges that directly affect the life and resilience of rural women in Cameroon, and the effects of climate change, which disrupt agricultural cycle, degrade land, and compromise food security. The minister used the opportunity to remind rural women that they are guardians of traditions and pillars of food security.
Dear rural women, you are the queens of the earth, guardians of our traditions, and pillars of our food security. I would like to remind you that a resilient and well-equipped rural woman is a key agent for change. When she is educated, trained, granted support, she is capable of innovating, preserving the environment, creating value, and ensuring the well-being of her family and her community.
The 30th edition of World Rural Women Day is an opportunity to celebrate the contribution and resilience of rural women in Cameroon and to reaffirm the government commitment to supporting their empowerment and well-being.
As the October 2025 polls draw near, militants of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, are leaving no stone unturned to secure a 100% vote for their candidate, Paul Biya. This was evident during the launch of the campaign in Biwongbulu subdivision. Phillips Enchi has the details.
C'est une cour du lycée bilingue de Biwongbulu Noir demande ce lundi 29 septembre 2025 à l'occasion du lancement officiel de la campagne électorale pour le compte du Rassemblement démocratique du peuple camerounais pour cette étape inaugurale de l'arrondissement de Biwongbulu, département de l'Anvila région du Sud. Les militants, militantes et sympathisants du RDPC des 48 villages que compte cette unité administrative sont venus en masse répondre à l'appel de leur leader politique.
Les militants de l'OJ-RDPC d'exprimer notre ralliement inconditionnel sans faille à notre candidat, le président national du parti, son Excellence Paul Biya, qui est le garant de l'unité nationale. Nous lui rassurons de notre mobilisation massive pour une victoire sans réserve au soir du scrutin du 12 octobre 2025.
Ce méga meeting, conduit par le président de la commission communale de campagne du RDPC, le professeur Rémi Magloire-Etoile, par ailleurs recteur de l'université de Yaoundé 1, est une démonstration de force des milliers de militants du parti.
The election campaign kicked off on Monday, September 29 in Dumentang in the Opanyong division of the East region. The rally was organized by district elites including Michel Ange Anguen, who reiterated that the target is voting for the CPDM candidate Paul Biya. Let's watch.
Traditional songs and dances opened the presidential campaign rally on Monday, September 29 in Dumentang in the East region. Slogans and beautiful choruses sounded all behind President Paul Biya, CPDM candidate. Organized by the Municipal Commission of Dumentang, having as president Michel Ange Anguen, it was sounded that Dumentang is and remains a strong support space for the CPDM. I will say what I said before. The main question is not to know who will win the elections because the choice is already made. The question we have is that we have a difficulty to handle. We were promised in 2018. How do we do to maintain this promise in 2025? In 2018, we supported President Paul Biya for obvious reasons, a man of peace and someone with much love for the party and the country. The fervent CPDM activist declared the love of the people of his region for their candidate. Our position remains the same. Our choice remains the same. That is the President Paul Biya, because we think it is him that Cameroon can attain emergency in 2035 with.
administrative authorities, religious leaders, elites of the Upper Nyong division, including the women, through the president of the Upper Nyong North 3, Seraphine Komba, reiterated how far they will go to see President Paul Biya on the top.
La femme de Doumentan.
The women of Doumentan can only give 100 support votes to Paul Biya because since his succession in the Supreme Magistracy, Paul Biya has always been a defender of women. Paul Biya has changed the lives of women, be it urban or rural. Paul Biya is the person who brings women to high positions. We see today women occupying big positions in offices. What we are waiting for is 50% votes from the women, or even more, because Paul Biya has done much for women.
CPDM branch president Honoré Koume used the opportunity to highlight the work already accomplished by the CPDM in the Upper Nyong division.
C'est ça le RDPC.
That is the CPDM, a big party with its untired leader, which at the end of his year's speech addressing to the nation, confirmed his will to bring back the National Revolution project in his term. This project that will bring satisfaction. Doumentan will not refuse to give her vote because we know and are living the transformation in our local society. End of voiceover.
The ceremony was punctuated by dance moves from Doumentan elites, which enthralled the crowd. The meeting ended with a motion and a march in support of President Paul Biya, demonstrating the desire of the people of Doumentan to see the CPDM candidate re-elected come October 12. And still on that, CPDM militants of Nkola Famba in the Mefu and Afamba division assembled at the Nkwabang Stadium to pledge a 100 support for their party's candidate. This was spearheaded by Minister Luc Magloire Tangana, head of the permanent divisional delegation of CPDM for Central Committee. Jessica Ndiwum has the details.
CPDM militants of Nkola Famba in the Mefu and Afamba division rallied at the Nkwabang Stadium as the community pledged 100% support for the CPDM candidate in the upcoming presidential election. The campaign rally was led by Luc Magloire Tangana, President of the Nkola Famba Community Campaign Commission and head of the Divisional Permanent Delegation of the CPDM Central Committee. He urged militants, sympathizers and supporters to remain steadfast, stressing that only through unity and determination can the party secure victory on October 12.
Oui, frères et sœurs, nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui au nom de Paul Biya.
We are here today in the name of President Paul Biya to carry forward his candidacy for the upcoming presidential election on October 12. I have witnessed the progress made through the road development program, particularly along the stretch between Tradex and Monte. The call has already been made to fully rehabilitate this road, and the work will soon begin in the coming days and weeks. But let us not forget, nothing is possible without God, without unity, without the collective efforts of all of us. This achievement is also built upon the voluntary contributions and sacrifices of your very own children that we represent today.
Pourquoi voulez-vous que ça change? Est-ce qu'on change une équipe qui gagne?
He further stressed on the need to support the CPDM candidate.
Paul Biya est le Moïse des temps modernes. Vous savez comment Moïse a été mandaté par Dieu?
Paul Biya is the Moses of our modern times. Just as Moses was chosen by God to lead his people out of Egypt towards the promised land, so too has God entrusted President Paul Biya with the mission of guiding Cameroon on the path of peace, progress and development. He is the shepherd chosen to lead us through challenges, the guardian of our nation's unity, and the guide who carries us toward a brighter and more prosperous future. He again encouraged supporters and militants to remain steadfast and united, stressing that only through collective strategies and solidarity can the CPDM secure a resounding victory on October 12. There can be no other message than voting. Voting solidly in favor of the candidate of our party, CPDM. We are not half engaged. We are fully engaged, as others may hesitate to be or not to be. Our answer is clear. We are, and we stand firm. That means 100% commitment. No doubt, no debate. A representative of the Far North Committee also took part in the rally, underscoring the spirit of national unity. Taking the floor, he has this to say. We are all behind Paul Biya. We cannot live without his support. We recognize that he is the president of all Cameroonians. We are very proud to be with him 100%. With songs of unity and victory echoing across the Kwabang Stadium, the people of Nkola Famba reaffirmed their loyalty and commitment to the CPDM candidate, Paul Biya. As the October 12 presidential election draws closer, the message from Mefo and Afamba is loud and clear. Total support, total victory.
And as the October 12, 2025 polls draw near, militants of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, are leaving no stone unturned to secure a 100% vote for their national president. This was evidenced during the launch of the campaign in Biwong Bulu subdivision. Phillips Enchi.
With fanfare and high aspirations, Cameroon's People's Democratic Movement CPDM militants from various subsections in the Biwong Bulu subdivision, Villa Division South region, turn out in large numbers to demonstrate their unwavering support for their party's national president, Paul Biya, on September 29, 2025 at the explanade of the Biwong Bulu Bilingual High School during the launch of the 2025 presidential election campaign. With clap and chants of victory, the municipal campaign president in the subdivision, Professor Remy Magloire Etoile, accompanied by the mayor, elites and administrative authorities, shake hands with militants of the party Biwong Bulu, which has over the years benefited from the generosity of President Paul Biya with infrastructural development, notably schools, hospitals, roads and other social amenities, remain a center of attraction in the region. With an enticing speech, the campaign president recalls President Paul Biya's unending support to the people of Biwong Bulu for the last 7 years.
Au niveau de l'éducation et de la formation,
at the level of education and professional training, more than 200 youths in Biwong Bulu were admitted in the higher institute throughout the country, notably Higher Teachers Training College, Faculty of Medicine, IRIC, ESTIC, and more. At the level of health, we have a medical center here in Biwong Bulu. There is another one in Bibayevo. Pharmacies, health centers are available to take care of various sicknesses in different categories. At the level of infrastructure, over 200 kilometers of road has been constructed, while at the level of energy, 3 villages have been electrified and 5 boreholes have been constructed and equipped with solar panels. With the significant achievement in infrastructure and social projects in the subdivision and across Cameroon, Paul Biya now commands the support of Biwong Bulu.
Nous avons un candidat
We have a candidate with an attractive manifesto or program for the youths, women, the elderly, farmers, bike riders, taxi drivers, businessmen and women too. At the level of security, the president has maintained peace and security in the country. The professor called on the population not to give in to distraction and focus on the objective in maintaining Paul Biya in power. It is for us now to continue with a convincing campaign for our national president and deploy faith and confidence to renew his position as the president of the republic, thanks to his developmental projects and program proposed to us and visible on the field. Traditional rulers in the subdivision, without hesitation, wholeheartedly pledged their support to the party's national president. The traditional rulers of Biwongbulu have decided to vote the lone presidential candidate, who is President Paul Biya, so that our subdivision can witness development, prosperity, and a lot more from His Excellency President Paul Biya. The women of Biwongbulu are convinced of a 100% victory come October 12.
Votez Paul Biya le 12 octobre.
Voting Paul Biya on October 12, 2025 is defending and protecting the future of our women and the youths of Biwongbulu. The campaign has just begun. The population of Biwongbulu and the women in particular are ready to produce a 100% victory to President Paul Biya in the upcoming presidential election. Presidents of the party's various wings reaffirm their unwavering support for President Paul Biya. On behalf of the youth CPDM militants, I want to express our unending support to our candidate, President Paul Biya, national president of the party, who is the guarantor of national unity. We want to reassure him of a massive mobilization in Biwongbulu for a 100% victory come October 12, 2025. The ceremony continues with libations, invoking protection for the party's national president Paul Biya and symbolizing hopes of victory in the days ahead. Traditional dance groups brings vibrancy to the event. It concludes on an optimistic note as CPDM militants in the subdivision pledge their loyalty to President Paul Biya, whom they regard as a symbol of greatness and hope.
Paul Biya victoire! Victoire! Paul Biya victoire! Victoire! Paul Biya victoire! Victoire! Victoire!
And CPDM militants of Ayos in the Nyong and Fumu division of the Central region on September 29 renewed their commitment to President Paul Biya. This was in the presence of Joseph Beti Asomo, member of the CPDM Central Committee, and other heavyweights of the party. Mimi Tiobo was on special assignment to Ayos. Her reports.
Jubilation and excitement characterized the moment as CPDM supporters welcomed Joseph Beti Asomo, substantive member of the CPDM Central Committee of Ayos Subdivision, and his wife, Reine Felicite Beti Asomo, for the campaign of the October 12 presidential election.
We are here to gather our militants of the CPDM party. As you know, I'm a member of Central Committee, and we are here in full line with what the Central Committee has decided. We were in the Yaoundé last Saturday afternoon to launch the campaign for the Central region.
The massive turnout of CPDM supporters and the elites of Ayos in the Nyong and Fumu division testify presidential candidate Paul Biya's popularity in the Ayos locality.
We are now in the subdivisions to do the same exercise. And believe me, Nyong and Fumu, and specifically Ayos, will vote fully, 100%. It will be something like that. So we are very optimistic, and we are sure that what they told us today, the militants, the voters from here, will be realized on the 12th October.
The party's supporters are fully mobilized and determined for President Paul Biya with a clear goal of achieving a landslide victory, 100% win.
From what we have seen, I think you are a witness like myself too, the Ayos people are behind the president. And before coming to Ayos, even on the road, wherever you pass from Yaoundé to here, you see militants with their uniform all over the road, all over the subdivisions, every small council, they are there. It shows how President Paul Biya is running for this term now. And it shows that he is popular and we are very confident that he will win.
The Mayor Paul Ndongo Bikor served as a unified figure, bringing the community together and fostering a sense of unity and purpose. A massive turnout demonstrating a strong support towards Paul Biya's re-elections, with militants set for a resounding victory on October 12.
And that news from Ayos takes us to the end of tonight's edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for watching and stay in the company of our programs. Have a good evening.
Bénis également ce forage d'eau au nom du Père, du Fils et du Saint-Esprit. Amen.
Merci.
Les populations d'Onkolo Tutu vous souhaitent la bienvenue à la station de service d'Onkolo Tutu.
La société traverse vous souhaite la bienvenue et un agréable séjour chez vous.
Nous accueillons sous les ovations bien nourries Madame la représentante du président du conseil d'administration de Travex.
Sans eau, il n'y a pas de vie. Pour les jeunes qui font l'action de moto-taxi, nous avons apporté des casques de dernière génération conformes aux normes édictées par les Nations Unies, dont le port contribuera à préserver les vies et éviter autant que possible les handicaps et commotions cérébrales en cas d'éventuel accident.
Agradex, qui est un partenaire du développement de l'État du Cameroun et qui n'est pas à sa première expérience dans notre commune. Nous ne pouvons que vous souhaiter bon vent pour cette nouvelle expérience.
Agradex inaugure ce jour sa 85e station-service en